Your dream life is on the other side of your fears. Facts. Fear is a construct of our imagination. Fear does not equal truth. Fear can be passed down from people, generations to generations. Fear can hold us back and keep us stuck. Every time I have taken the chance to do something, even though it scared me, I was always rewarded by the universe. And every time I did something that scared me, I realized just because something scares me does not necessarily mean that that is bad for me. For example, some of our favorite designers or artists, producers, directors have all been scared, or they're still scared. I've seen interviews, I've read interviews from directors and artists that even 10, 20, 30 years in industry are still scared to put out a project or to put out an album or to put out a movie because they don't know if the audience is gonna like it, but they still do it. And that's the difference between some artists that make it and some that don't. Obviously there's a huge factor of talent that has to come into play for that to also work out. But there's so many people that don't do it. They don't put themselves out there because they're scared of what people are gonna think or what people are gonna say. And half the time the people that you're scared that are gonna judge you are not even gonna be your loyal community or fan base or people that are really gonna care about you. There's always gonna be trolls, and there's always gonna be people that are gonna have some sort of opinion to say, whether you're doing what you wanna do or you're not doing what you don't wanna do. So I've learned that I would much rather someone be a troll, but I'm doing what I love, than them being a troll and I'm still feeling unfulfilled. No matter how much time goes by, the fear does not decrease. I don't feel less scared about posting a video or saying how I feel or expressing my emotions or being my authentic self. The fear doesn't decrease, it doesn't go away. So I've learned that I've had to do it scared. It is scary to be yourself, it is scary to put yourself out there, but it's never gonna not be scary. If I would have kept waiting for the right time, the right season, the right weather, the right lighting to do something, to post a video or to say something to someone, I would still be waiting. I would still be waiting for that right season or that right moment, and it would have never come. There was always going to be an excuse that I was going to make up. There was always something that I was going to say was holding me back, or I was going to wait for the next day or the next day or the next day, and then it was a year later and I hadn't done anything. And I realized I didn't want to wake up on my 80th birthday and realize that I was still waiting for the right weather and the right season and the right lighting and the right words to say what I wanted to say. I was just gonna be a freaking volcano and erupt and just blurp everything out and hope that it made sense and that it stuck, but I was trying. And the thing is that as humans, we are scared of other humans seeing us try, and I'm not sure why or how that started, but one thing I've learned through life is that something that I've had coworkers, colleagues tell me that they admire about me is the fact that I am curious. I'm curious about how things work, and I'm not scared of fear. I don't have fear of trying, of making an effort, and I might not necessarily do the perfect job at it, but I give it my 110%. And at the end of the day, that matters a lot more than a perfect project or a perfect day. I did something. I've also learned that believing in myself and trusting myself is rewarded by the universe. When you go and do something that scares you, the universe will reward you. If you know in your heart of hearts that this is meant to happen, that you're meant to be an artist, that you're meant to be a painter, that you're meant to be a designer, that you're meant to be a director, that you're meant to be an actor, whatever it is, if you know in your heart of hearts that that is what you're destined to do, then nothing can take that away from you. And it is going to happen. Now, is it going to happen exactly how you have planned out in your head? Probably not, because many times there's so many things that are happening in the background that we don't see, that the universe is trying to protect us from. But it doesn't mean that you're not going to accomplish your goals. It just might not be exactly how you have envisioned, which is totally okay. But nothing and no one can stop you or prevent you from the life that you're meant to have, and the things that you're meant to do, and the people that you're meant to help. The universe rewards bravery. I'm not saying it's going to be easy, quite the opposite. When you go after your destiny, when you go after what you're meant to do, it's one of the hardest things to do because most of us don't do that. And there is no right or wrong path because everyone's journey looks different. So you can't copy and paste and replicate a formula. It doesn't work that way. You have to just start, and you have to do it, and you have to fuck up and make mistakes and then learn from it and evolve and continue to progress and move forward and become better and do better. But it's not easy. It's very difficult to be your authentic self and to put yourself out there and to trust yourself enough to go after something that you don't know how it's going to necessarily end up. You're just hoping that it ends up positively. Going after your dreams and desires is also one of the hardest things because you're constantly battling yourself. You are your own worst enemy. You are the only one that's keeping your dreams in what I call the waiting room. It's this, think of a hospital room, and it's this waiting room where all of your dreams and desires are all sitting down together, and they're all just waiting for you to open the door and come through and be like, okay, I'm ready. I'm ready to welcome you guys into my life. I'm ready to do the hard work. I'm ready to start my healing journey. I'm ready to go to therapy. I'm ready to actually start working out, which I've been saying for the past 5 years. I'm ready to actually commit and stay consistent. And I know that it's going to take time, and I know that it's not going to happen overnight, but I'm here, I'm ready. And when you open yourself to your dreams and desires, it's freaking hard because you have to be vulnerable enough to share your artwork and to be open to criticism and to be open to people not liking it, or to be open to people maybe making suggestions about things that you can do better or work on. And it's not necessarily, sometimes they're trolls and they're mean and we don't listen to them. Sometimes they're people that are coming from a really good place. So you have to decipher with your own intuition, is this something that I want to hold on to, or is this something that I'm just gonna roll down my window and throw it out of my car because that person is not even doing what they want to be doing. So why am I going to take advice from someone that isn't even going after their dreams? Now, how do you do this? How do you enter the waiting room and open the door to all of your dreams and your desires? Do the things that you say you're going to do. Do the things you're saying you're going to do. Start doing that dress that you have been planning in your head. Start composing the melody that's been on a loop in your mind for weeks or days or hours. Start designing the shoes that you have sketched out in your sketchbook years ago, and you just obsess about them and you open that sketchbook almost every day. Start speaking from your heart. Start being your authentic self, and stop trying to be like everyone else, because that person already exists, but there is no one that is exactly like you. And if you don't do that, if you don't go after your dreams, if you don't get your melody out there and you're composing and you're sewing and your shoes, someone else is going to do it. Ideas come from a higher power. It's a higher source that brings this idea over to you in hopes that you're going to execute it. But that higher power needs this idea to be executed because someone needs it. And if you don't execute it, it's going to be passed down to someone else that hopefully will, until someone finally executes this idea. The best way for me to explain this is, have you ever had an idea that you really haven't seen anyone else do? And you think about it and you write some things down, maybe have a Google Doc, maybe journal about it, maybe start a couple of sketches, but never do anything with it. And then years later, you see this idea that you had written down and you had planned out in execution. Someone else is doing it. That was your idea, but you let the idea expire. It had an expiration date, and this higher power needed this to be done. Imagine a world without a light bulb, without cars, without trains, without airplanes. That was once just an idea in someone's head, and now it became a reality, and it's now a very vital, important part of our day-to-day lives. But at one point, someone said, that's crazy. You cannot make a flying vehicle, or you cannot make a car. Someone's always gonna call you crazy. Doesn't mean they're right. Start creating, start doing, start posting. Don't wait for the perfect time to come, because it will never come. It's never gonna happen. You're always gonna have an excuse for something. Don't deprive the world from your ideas. Don't deprive the world from who you are, from your voice, from your writing, from your poetry, because you might just be the person that changes generations to come. And most importantly, be you, because no one can replicate you. Adios.